Hello friends and welcome to my studio. My name is Julie Fei-Fan Balzer and I am a painter, a printmaker, and a collage artist. And for the past few days, I have been doing a series on my blog. You can find it at balzerdesigns.typepad.com, all about my favorite art supplies. And it's a 4-part series and I divided it into sort of the categories of what I do. Like I said, I'm a painter, I'm a printmaker, and a collage artist. But another thing that I am, and that's what this video is about, is I am an art journaler. Now, art journaling is something that I started doing, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. And it's what got me interested in making fine art. It's what got me interested in bettering my art skills. It's what got me interested in all sorts of techniques. And it has helped me through so many different things in my life as well. So today I thought I'd share just a few, because I could name a million of my absolute favorite art supplies for art journaling. So hopefully you'll find something that interests you, and feel free to share your favorites in the comments below the video. If you want to take an art journaling class with me, you can check that out at balzerdesigns.com. So China markers were originally developed to write on china. This is obviously not china, but I don't have any china up here. But the idea is you could write, I'm going to write red on red. The idea here is that you could write the price right on the china, and then you could basically wipe it off. Right? That's the idea behind like why china markers were invented. And traditionally they've come, sometimes they're called grease pencils, in this kind of tube where you have to like rip the paper and it curls around. And that was always such a pain. So these Listo china markers, which have these like plastic outer shells, which are refillable, by the way, you can just buy the colors that go in and come in lots of different colors. They're so great because they draw on top of acrylic paint. You know, you can doodle all over with them. I never mind even going into like wet paint with them because they're indestructible. They're basically crayons, you know, and I don't know what to say. I love the marks they make. I love the way they feel. You can go over them with paint. And then even though it rubbed off the cup, it may smudge a tiny bit, but it doesn't really like come off, you know, in your art journal, on top of your paint, on top of whatever else. So they're just one of my all-time favorite must use, so easy, not expensive, fabulous art tools that I must have. Like I could be very happy with just these. Now, if you want to up your crayon game to the fancy stuff, that's when these beautiful Caran d'Ache Neocolor ones come in. And I've done a whole video about them, so I won't belabor it, but I will just say like these are super duper yummy. They are just like crayons. They're just really, really, really highly pigmented. And one of the things that I like so much is you can find like in a dark area, and the crayons do a great job, you know, going right over dark areas and really showing up. So that's a favorite. And I recently found that they sell a crayon sharpener. It looks just like a regular pencil sharpener, except it's got a big opening, and it was not expensive. And it means that you don't have to deal with these kind of dull tips. You can get it back to looking just the way you want it to. Now, normally I would obviously do this over the garbage can and not over my art journal, but since the video camera's here, this makes a little more sense. And you see, you can bring it right back to a beautiful point. I just think that's so cool. Now I can have all my little detail marks that I want to do. So, you know, you can get those little lines because you're doing details, or you can get those big broad lines because it's a crayon. Okay, one more writing tool, because drawing, writing, or journaling, they all kind of go together. I love my Posca markers, and I have a bunch of colors in 2 tip widths. The ones that I use the most often are the 3mm, I think it's millimeter, let's call it 3M, I'm not sure, and the 5M. Oh no, it's not the same. It's a 1.3mm and a 2.5mm. There you go. So we'll just say I use the 3M and the 5M the most often. And these are paint pens like any other, where you shake them. And you know, you can push in the tip if you need to, but here's the skinny, and again, it writes on such a wide variety of materials, just really beautifully, right over, you know, acrylic paint, because it is acrylic paint inside it. And then here's the wider tip. You can see it's a subtle difference. It's not a huge one. And I do very much like the white. I think I have the white in a couple different sizes. I probably have more. I probably have some more kicking around. So here it is. You can see it's very white, very opaque, does a good job. It's going over all kinds of stuff. Here's the little one. Hopefully you can see that tip is quite small. Looks like it needs to be pushed in. There you go, to get it going. Get some little dots in here. And now just to compare the two lines, this is a much more drastic difference. And this is the 1MR, which is 0.7 millimeters, and this was the 5, which is 1.8 to 2.5 millimeters. There's a use for every paint under the sun, but my current favorite acrylic paint to use in my art journal is this So Flat paint from Golden, and it's been designed to be super matte and super flat, so it doesn't dry dimensionally, and it also really is like very matte. And you can see that from these paint swatches that they put on the top. I mean, they put on the front, and from the paint swatches that I put on the top. Right? It's super matte. So the thing is, if you don't want your art journal pages to stick together, you know, when you close your book and then that ripping thing that happens, you want your paint to be really matte. So instead of having to use a lot of matte medium or gesso, by using these paints, and you can see they come in 2 different jar sizes, a huge wide range of colors. The only thing is you really need to shake them or stir them before you use them. So they only come in jars. And you'll see that they're, ooh, I spilled some out. They're very fluid, right? So I would say the consistency feels similar, although not the same to the Golden Fluids. The colors, like I said, are just, they're those colors that you're used to. They're rich, they're beautiful. You know, it's super high quality. You can drip and drizzle them, but they're always going to, you can see how sort of liquidy it is. It just sort of drops off the brush, right? But they're always going to dry matte and flat. And that's exactly what I want in my art journal, is for it to be matte and flat. They also dry fairly quickly. Maybe it's because they're so thin, which I really like, again, in my art journal, just for, you know, not having to have the pages be open forever, yada, yada, yada. So speaking of not having to have the pages be open forever and things drying quickly, one of my absolute must-haves is this tool, and it's not a hair dryer, though it looks like one. You can see that it's well loved and well used. This is a Ranger heated craft tool, and I like it because it's fairly quiet. It doesn't do a ton of blowing where everything flies everywhere. It's not so hot that I'm burning my paper or anything like that. And it does a really great job. Now, when I art journal, I get really impatient because I want to move on to the next page, or I want to go somewhere else, and so I can't stand to have wet paint. So normally I'm capable of leaving my work until it's dry, but with an art journal, I find myself with a heat gun in one hand all the time. And this is such a small thing, but do you see how there's this loop here? Let me turn this off. Do you see how there's this loop here? I put it in what I call a holster, which is there's just a hook next to my desk, and I hang it on the hook so that the heat gun is always near me, and I never have to think about it. I just pull it out of the holster, and boom, I'm ready to dry. And in the time that we've been talking, you know, with the combination of the fact that the So Flat paint dries quickly and the heat gun doing its job, like this paint, except for maybe inside the hole of this tag where it's a little bit of a thicker layer, is completely dry. And oh my gosh, this matte paint, the pigment intensity, I absolutely love it. So yeah, heat gun, one of my best favorite tools, and in particular this heated craft tool from Ranger, I've loved for years. For palette paper, my choice is this Gray Matters palette paper. It comes in a really, this is 9x12. It comes in a half sheet size, 6x9, that I find really useful because you can have it open on your art journal while you're working. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't take up as much room as this 9x12 does. The 9x12 is good when you're working larger. It does have a really useful just chart inside. But the reason you want to have a gray palette is because color shows up very differently on gray than it does on white. If this were on white, you wouldn't really see this color as clearly because the white is not neutral, would be making you think that maybe it wasn't quite as intense as it actually is. But the gray is like a half gray, like a neutral 5 gray. So it's really creating that neutral look. So when I'm mixing my own colors, let's put some paint out on the palette. I'm teaching a color theory class in 2024, which is making color theory really accessible so it's not confusing. But you really don't need a lot of know-how to get the most out of your paints and be able to get a beautiful range of colors and mix them up very simply. Of course, color theory is way beyond just color mixing, but that's one of the most useful and practical things you can learn about. So you can see how the color really shows up on this gray palette. I can see the richness of everything that I'm working with. Now, another very basic supply I love to have around is blue painter's tape. This is the Scotch blue. I find it works really well on my art journal pages, and I'm going to show you how I use it. So beyond just holding things down, here you can see I have some blue paint down on my paper, and I'm just going to really loosely paint, starting with the lightest color of blue that I mixed up here, sort of dry brushing in, and then I'm going to go into the darker color. And I don't even need to cover the tape up all the way. So here you can see I have some light, I have some dark. While it's still wet, I can, you know, add some texture into it. Paint is so flexible because now I can bring a little bit of light out here and then, you know, draw right into it, bring a little dark over into other areas, you know, slap it around, make it more mottled, less flat. I mean, you can do what you want. Decide that you do want it to be a little more flat, but maybe with some scratches in it. Just play with it. And then when I'm ready, I can just remove that blue painter's tape. So now that the tape's been removed, I just have some interesting little bits and pieces and like directions, some shapes with some really clean edges. And this is a fun place for me to then take off with whatever's next, you know, which could be going back to something I've already used. Like here's that China marker coming right back in, you know what I mean? Using it to, again, change what's there. So now, you know, the layers are starting to all meld together, which is always my personal goal. So the very last supply that I'll talk about is related to my dirty palette. Deli paper. So I never, ever, 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 ever like to waste paint. And so my paper of choice is deli paper for cleaning off a dirty palette or using up any excess paint. I like deli paper because it's super inexpensive, it's strong, it's translucent, it takes a beating, it collages beautifully. Did I say that it's cheap? Because that's really important too. So I never worry about it. It never feels precious or important, you know, and I can just easily take any excess paint I have, you know, before the day is over and just get it now into a nice piece of collage paper. And I never worry about, you know, mixing colors or painting on top of patterns or anything like that. I just want to use that paint, not let it go to waste. You paid a lot of money for that paint. You might as well make it work for you. Once I feel like I've gotten most of the paint off of the palette, I will often take a piece of deli paper that has something on it, and then I'll start to clean up my palette, you know, grab a monoprint, clean up my palette. This is really fun when you have tons of colors all over your palette and you end up getting a piece of paper with tons of colors. And now you have this collage paper that's left over because Deli Paper just does such a great job collaging. So that's the last thing I'm going to show you, is just how beautifully it collages, because you need to know. So here's a piece of Deli Paper that you can see has some random stuff on it. And I am just going to cut a chunk out of it. Now, where it is, where you can see my fingers through, and it's the original Deli Paper, that should, when we collage it, that should go totally translucent. So we'll see. Sometimes over dark colors it doesn't. But this Deli Paper is basically going to get, for lack of a better word, kind of sucked into this page behind it because it's going to collage so nicely. So I'm going to use matte medium to do this. And I'm just going to use a credit card to spread that on there, or an old hotel room key. Yum. So good. So this total piece of garbage paper, which I'm sure you were not like, oh, that's the most beautiful paper, has now just made such beautiful marks on this piece. And you can see it is translucent in all the places, right, that it was clear. So I might take one more piece of that paper. Deli Paper is most like wet strength tissue paper. Regular tissue paper will do this somewhat, but it tears and rips really easily. Like, you can't get into it with the credit card, but wet strength tissue paper you can. So that's another option if you don't have Deli Paper near you, but wet strength tissue is quite expensive. Okay, so I could go on and on about supplies, but you know, look how much we did with just a couple really cool supplies. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a few things, maybe something piqued your interest. I love geeking out about my favorite art supplies, and I hope that you do too. I hope you'll visit me at balzerdesigns.com. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and as always, I love hearing from you, so do leave a comment.